Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day today. My name's Cody, and I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Spring is well set in now, and you can tell by the lilac there behind me. Just looking beautiful. That's one of Grandma's original lilacs here, so she's probably 60 plus years old and still going strong. I probably will do some pruning on that or later this spring or after she's done flowering. Flowering shrubs, and completely off topic, but whatever, we're here. Flowering shrubs, if you do want to do some pruning on them, wait till they finish flowering, then prune them to where you want them. If we were to cut it in the fall, what's going to happen is you cut off all those flower buds. So after they've done flowering, cut them to where you want them. They'll send out new growth, and that new growth is where they'll set flower buds, so that way the next year you don't miss out a year on your flowers. Today our job is pretty straightforward. I had an idea not that long ago to plant up the dahlias in our greenhouse, and that is what I want to get done today. Now, I highly doubt I will get that all done just because there's a lot of them to do, but let's get started on it anyway. So I'm going to bring the tractor down there, use the bucket of the tractor to break up those big bags of soil, and then hopefully pot up there. The longest and hardest part of this job, I think, is definitely going to be potting, filling up all those pots. So let's just jump right into her and get to work. We had some rain the last couple of days, which is great because I just got the sunflowers put in the field, so it's always nice, like I say, when Mother Nature decides to pull her weight for once. So that's great. The only downside is I might have forgotten to close the sunroof on the sun tractor. The sun tractor? Close the sunroof on the tractor. I don't know what I said. I'll go back and check that. But anyway, I forgot to close the sunroof on the tractor. And what we ended up here with is a nice wet seat. So, oh, it's warm, so that's nice. But you can see I've done this before. I always leave a plastic bag on there, but let's deal with this water. I don't want to be sitting in that. Back in the greenhouse now. So I think it was a Pet Expo video, or the video not too long ago. It's actually coming out today, but I don't know when this video is coming out, so the schedule is just screwed. But anyway, it doesn't matter. In that video, I decided to plant in the greenhouse here the dahlias. So that is what we're going to work on today. I've got these 5-gallon pots that I'm going to repurpose and plant the dahlias in there. I think it's going to be beautiful. It keeps the hail off them, which here is usually a big factor. If we don't get hailed out, we usually get no moisture. So it'll be nice to have the plastic on here. It'll help the dahlias grow a lot better in here too, so I think the overall crop is going to be a lot better. And for photo opportunities too. So I'm going to probably redo the poly here, because right now I just have vapor barrier, which is a construction grade poly, not a greenhouse grade poly. I don't know the difference. I'm sure somebody does, and if you want to let me know, that's great. I always like to learn. But it does the trick for right now. In the fall, what I'd like to do, or in the summer when the dahlias are ready, is replace the poly with something that looks nicer, and put in some of those string Edison lights in here as well. And I think with the dahlias coming up, that's just going to make for such a beautiful set. So that's anyway my thought process, but I figured I can get about 250 of these 5-gallon pots in here. So that means I've got 250 of these pots to fill up before I even start planting the dahlias into them. So I've got a lot of pot filling to do. So I'm just going to jump right into that and get that started here. There we go, one pot down, 249 to go. Let's get to it. now we got all the pots filled up. I haven't got an account yet, but it's probably around the 200 mark, so that's awesome. Now the next thing to do is to spread out the dahlias in the pots, try to get a good mix, kaleidoscope of colors, and get them planted and then watered, and then put this greenhouse just on maintenance, because that's all it's going to take for the rest of the summer. I'm really excited about this, but let's get mix matching and planting. We are nearly done. That's quite the job. It is getting smoking hot in here, but in all fairness, I'm probably not the best judge for what temperature is as far as what an acceptable heat level is. I just checked and it's like 14 degrees outside, so it's maybe 20 degrees in here, but I am dying. I do not do well in the heat, but it is a perfect environment here for the dahlias, and honestly, that's all that matters. So I've just got a few more here to pot up, but I just wanted to give you a closer look at what we're doing here. So we're taking them from these 4-inch pots, or 4.5 inch, you want to be technical, and we're putting them into these 5-gallon pots. So you can kind of see there is a drastic difference. Dahlias have a pretty good root system in the fibrous roots that extend out, but what they're really developing is that tuberous tuber. Very similar to what a potato is, if that makes sense. I always like to think of dahlias as kind of this weird cross between a tomato and a potato, in that they like the growing environments of a tomato, which is hot with lots of moisture, but they produce essentially a root that is very similar to a potato as far as how you store them if you want to keep them over the winter. So as yeah, a little bit of a weird hybrid, but that doesn't matter. In here, the environment is perfect. Once these guys are potted in here, they'll stay in here for the rest of the summer. Now my plan is to use this greenhouse for as part of our photography studio, so people can come in and get their pictures taken with all the dahlias growing in here, which I think will be quite lovely. And yeah, I just need to get these last few potted, but basically all I'm doing is I take them in their pot and I push down into the larger pot to create a little recess, which should be the exact same diameters of the pot, if that makes any sense. And then I gently tease out the plant. You can see a good root development on this guy here, but they've not been in these little trainer pots for very long, and you can see just how quickly their roots can take over. So it's very important to get them into something a little bit bigger. And you can see here the soil still that nice dark brown, nearly black color. That means that there's still moisture in this pot, so that's great. Dahlias, you definitely don't want them to dry out. They're very sensitive to those sorts of things. They are not drought hardy at all. So these guys are probably going to be watered every day. If you're planting them at home, it's always a good idea just to make sure that you check them regularly. A good watering every day, if it's not raining, is super, super important. Because if these guys dry out, they won't be their best for you. So just make sure that they've got plenty of space to grow if you're doing them in pots, and that they get lots of bright sunlight, lots of direct sunlight, and lots of moisture as well. They're super easy to grow, so if you get a chance or an opportunity, I highly, so I'm sweating like crazy, I'd highly recommend growing them. The flowers are stunning, the plants themselves are just awesome, you know, just fantastic. So get yourself some dahlias, get them in the ground, and just enjoy them all summer long. So let's get this guy in here. Simple as that. And I shake the potting mix in and around and just top off with a little bit extra. Now if you bury the stem on a dahlia a little bit, that's not going to hurt them at all. They don't mind that one bit, so that's okay. And then this is the end result that you're left with there. So a nice little plant in a big pot, but they will fill up, and then at the end of the season, like I said, I'll come through and harvest all these, and they should each produce tubers, clumps of tubers that have multiple little daughter plants that we can plant out again next year. So the cycle never ends. You just got to keep up with it. But I am dying of heat here, so I'm just going to get these guys done and then try to step outside. All right, wish me luck. So we're just looking at two different pots here. One has been watered and one has not been watered. The one on the left we just watered, and the one on the right here has not been watered. Now, what I like to do when I'm watering is I'll come through and give each pot, you know, maybe 5 to 10 seconds of a drink, and then I'll move on to the next one. And then I'll go back to the beginning and I'll start all over again. I'll do that 3 or 4 times, especially when the soil is looking like this. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's very, very dry, it's light, and it's fluffy. And what ends up happening is that this soil can actually become hydrophobic, which means that it repels water. It won't actually absorb any water. And if you think because there's water running out the bottom of your pot that that pot is fully soaked and saturated, you might be wrong, in that there could be pockets in there that are still hydrophobic and not actually absorbing water. Another good test is just to lift the pot up and see how heavy it is. You should have a pretty good idea as to what a well-watered pot feels like as far as weight versus one that's a little bit on the drier side. So there's quite a big difference between one that is fully saturated and good for your plants and one that is dry, and maybe it has some dry spots in it or not completely saturated all the way through. So just something to keep in mind. There we go. What a fantastic day. We got the greenhouse cleaned out and we've got all of these dahlias potted up. There's close to 200 of them in here, which is just beautiful. They're really small right now, but they are well rooted and they have a great head start. So we're just early into June here. You know, another month in here and it's going to be completely unrecognizable. So I'm so excited that we were able to get this project, you know, thought of and then actioned on and then done in like a week. So it's been super awesome just to see the whole process there. I'm really excited with how it turned out. I am by no means an expert when it comes to growing dahlias, so if you have any questions, you know, send them, leave a comment, but maybe we can work on that together as far as, you know, what we come up with, what's the best way to grow these guys, and I'd love to hear you guys' feedback as well. So always open for a discourse for sure, that's not a problem. And, yeah, I also wanted to thank you. We recently broke 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel here. That's also fantastic. Just really want to thank everyone who took the time to join us here. It's just a little pet project, a little hobby that I like to do, a creative outlet, I guess, and a little bit of trying to share some of the tips and tricks and knowledge that I've learned throughout the years, and just kind of what I do around here. It's kind of been fun to share that, and the fact that there's been 100 people out there who are interested enough in what I'm doing to follow along, that yeah, I just really means a lot to me. So I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who's done that. But that's where I'm going to leave it today there, guys. So I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope you had some enjoyment watching me in here sweat to death. But I am going to get out of the greenhouse now and try to cool off. So until next time, guys, have a great day and take care. Bye now.